junior college is just another option. They're not going to junior college because they have nothing else. It is just another option. And like Rich, you cannot take for granted in today's world of college football having options. I don't care what they are at the end of the day.
Right.
If you have
Right.
options where you can go play, continue to play the game, that is a big deal. And I try to impress that on our guys and our families as much as I possibly can, because I've been on both sides of it as a high school coach and on the college level. It's really hard to get an opportunity to play anywhere in college football at any level.
You're listening to the Football Scholarship Podcast, the playbook for parents and athletes who want to secure the best football scholarships possible. From securing a D1 football scholarship in the SEC at Ole Miss at just 5'7", 100 pounds, myself, to helping 83% of the athletes I mentor achieve football scholarship offers and 42% going Division I, I've learned countless lessons that I'll be sharing right here with you. Join me and my co-host Brian Overton, who has 15 years of D1 college football recruiting experience, as we interview top experts, successful athletes, and discuss current recruiting trends. Together, we'll help you navigate the recruiting process so you too can achieve your dream of running out of that tunnel in front of 100,000 screaming fans. Should you bypass a scholarship offer for junior college or go to a Division II or an NAIA scholarship offer? In this video, we're going to break down who should go to JUCO. Do you get extra years of eligibility for doing so? And how does this affect high school recruiting if you are in that position? So joining me today is our head football coach, Brian Overton, who's got 15 years of Division I recruiting experience. And we're going to break down this entire topic, because if you are a high school football player right now and you might have some scholarship offers on the table, but maybe those offers aren't as good or where you want them to be, then junior college might be the route for you. However, it's absolutely not for everyone, and we got to get really clear as to who this is for, because context really does matter. So, Brian, I'm going to open up to you, man. Let's just jump on your initial thoughts on this topic, and then we'll kind of break down all the different aspects of it.
Yeah, I think you nailed it right there. Like, if you don't get anything out of, this podcast and this topic, what we say is, is that, it is a great option in a lot of scenarios, and sometimes it is not, and like you say, context matters. The program matters. All junior colleges are not created equal. Anybody in the business will tell you that. So that matters. The position fit matters. There's a lot of things that I know we'll get into. But in the right situation, there's obviously pros and cons, just like there is everything. But in the right situation, it can be a really good fit for guys. When I was I do a lot of stuff based on my college experience, obviously, with working with our guys, but I was also a high school coach for a number of years, before I ever got into college ball. And I had guys that were really successful at the right junior college, but again, it was the right fit for a lot of reasons. And then others had some opportunities to go to junior college, like you just said, and opted to go the Division II route, and some other things, again, because of the context. So again, like you said, it can be a really good option for some guys. Some guys, it may not make sense, but it is all based on context. And the other thing I want people to understand is, junior college can be a good option, but it's tough, guys. It's a tough road, and I say that because, a lot of them don't obviously have the resources that even a Division II or NAIA school will have. They're often in, smaller towns, and things like that. So if you're looking for, total college experience and all that good stuff, that's probably not coming along with it. Guys go to junior college for the most part out of high school. It's a football decision, for other reasons that we'll get into later. But just understand that it is tough. I want people to understand there is a glaring difference typically. Now, sometimes it's not. There are some really nice junior colleges out there, but for the most part, there's usually a pretty big difference between going junior college and even NAIA Division II most of the time.
Yeah, and also like a lot of the players that are there are super talented. Like there's a lot of Division 1 caliber players there that are going because of grades, and so you are going to compete. Like typically it's you're going to compete high. But like Brian said, like they're not going to have stadiums with crowds and stuff like that. I mean, you're talking like a couple hundred people may go to the game at best. So it's not that kind of experience, and the locker rooms, the facilities, um, are not
Yeah.
are not ideal, right? So it's purely going to give yourself the opportunity to get a scholarship, right? To get a better offer. And so I think a good use, like I want to go through like some scenarios, especially with some of the players that we have, and talking about when this is a good idea. And I also really want to hit on the rules. Okay. So a lot of people have heard of the ruling, right, from Diego Pavia's case, where his eligibility from junior college was actually granted, meaning his junior college playing years did not affect his eligibility in playing in the NCAA, right? So, but the NCAA has ruled for people that are graduating in the 2024-2025 classes that their JUCO eligibility will be waived, right? So it's not going to count against them for the NCAA. But the NCAA has not put out a statement yet for all JUCO players, right? Meaning, if you're a senior right now or you're a junior in high school right now, going to JUCO, those years still right now will count towards your eligibility. However, there's a high probability that the NCAA will set out a blanket for all junior college eligibility. But with that being said, it hasn't been done yet. So it is something to keep in mind in consideration. It has not happened yet. Do I think it'll happen? I'll let Brian, you share your opinion. I do, based on previous trends with the NCAA, but it hasn't happened yet. So that's really important. If you want to give your opinion, Brian, you think it will pass moving forward, or it'll just stay 2024, 2025?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and again, if you've watched enough of these, everybody knows how I feel about the NCAA. So, you know what I mean? This is totally totally opinion. They could go way out in left field like they usually do. But I think the biggest thing I can see, you know, the biggest hurdle in this situation that I think they can have in this one is just simply if the right people, you know, and I don't even know who the right people would be, to be honest with you, but if the right people made enough noise about, just the age gap, that it could create, with,
Exactly.
if say they come out and say that you can play 2 years in JUCO and it not count towards your eligibility. I'm not even throwing in red shirts and medicals and all that stuff. You could have you could have the possibility of quite a few like 26-year-olds playing against a 18-year-old freshman that's playing his freshman year in college. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
like saying, that's like saying high school kids can go right to the NFL. That's the same age gap difference you're talking about as far as like physically, bigger, faster, stronger,
totally.
the whole nine. So that's the only pushback I could see. And again, I don't know who those people would have to be to raise those concerns. It would probably be more like on the medical side, maybe like, team doctors or, if they got physicians involved. I don't know. But I can see that being a obstacle, which may be why they didn't just come out and do it already. To be honest with you, that's
Totally.
why I think they may have played
Yeah.
it safe with the two, these last two classes because then it won't create such a huge gap. So having said that, I think it's because of that. I think it's more 50-50. I could see it go either way, and there may be some other things come up, as far as eligibility wise and things like that. Like people forget about the academic side of it sometimes. And I recruited a ton of junior college kids when I was at different all four different places I was at. And depending on the school, sometimes it can be really difficult to get them in the school. just depending on what they took at the junior college academically, what transfers over. Do they have enough credits in the right places to transfer over? Obviously, GPA is going to factor in all the time, but I think that's going to factor in as well because now, like I think it's going to be a hard sell too to keep kids going to school for that long. To be quite honest with you, because now you've got to go to junior college, now
Right.
you've transferred to another school, and you got to keep going to school to play, and now you got to keep going to school to play. You're gonna either have those guys that love it and just get like 2 undergrads and a master's degree or something like that. I don't know, but then you're gonna get the other guys that are just gonna be like, man, I'm just tired of going to school, and that's gonna open a whole nother can of worms. So there's a lot of obstacles to get to, and not to avoid the question, but I literally think there's enough obstacles in there where it's probably 50-50. It probably would not shock me one way or the other if they did it or if they didn't, to be honest with you.
Right. And I agree with you on that. I mean, but based on like the whole money aspect of it and employment, that's going to be like, that's where the, you know, where they're just going to have real trouble winning in court with that. But, let's see what happens. The bottom line here is we want you making your high school football recruiting decisions. It's really important that you're not basing it on that ruling when it doesn't apply to you, right? So keeping that in mind, I think, is really critical. Now you can make your opinion on whether you think it'll pass and make your decision based on that if you want, but I think at this point it might be better. You might be better served making your decision based on the fact that it won't happen. And then it's a huge positive if it does. It's probably the safest route to go
I
there.
agree.
So with that being said, let's talk about context, right? Into where this makes sense. And I'll give one of our scenarios because we do have a senior right now that we've been working with heavily on this JUCO scenario, and he ultimately made the decision to go to JUCO. And then we could break down some other scenarios, but just to give you an example, he was a quarterback. He wasn't a big runner. Great frame, great size. And he had really good high school film. Unfortunately, he didn't connect with us until it was kind of late in the process. So he did get offers, but not at the Division 1 level, which is actually where he graded. Unfortunately, if we had him, quarterbacks are tougher. You got to really start real early with the quarterbacks, and we didn't get. If we would have had him going into his junior year in a sophomore year, then he probably would have ended up with a lot of D1 offers. But because it was so late, a lot of these schools had already made a decision. Now, he got some really good Division 2 offers that he definitely would not have gotten if it wasn't for working with us. So at least he did get offers, but they weren't at the level he was graded at. And so one of the things we do with every player we work with is we do an evaluation with them and we grade them, right? Is it Division 1? Is he Power 4? Is he Group of 5, or is he FCS? Or is he Division 2? Or is he Division 3? Or is he NAIA? Like, where is he grading? And then we want to make sure that he earns scholarships to that grade, right? Now, if they don't, then we could start talking about, different options. For him, he graded as Division 1, didn't get enough of the level of scholarships that he should have. And because he's a quarterback, and because he doesn't run a lot, so he's not going to get beat up. And because he has great size, and because he plays in a small town, right? It makes sense for him specifically to go to a junior college. And let me say this. And he got an offer to play at a very good junior college, right? One that sends a lot of people to high-level Division 1 programs. So as you can see, there's a lot of context to this. And so as Brian and I break this down, whatever you do, don't say because Richie and Brian said on this podcast to go to junior college for a quarterback that means all quarterbacks, because that's not the case at all. I'll give one other scenario. We had a kid who was graded highly, great player, but backed up a 5-star. that's another scenario potentially, depending on the position, where you might want to go to a junior college, right? Uh, but again, it depends on your other offers. It depends on your size. It depends on your position. If you're a running back and you're going to get beat up a lot, it might not make sense, right? So, Brian, what are your thoughts on that? That was one scenario. What are some other contexts and scenarios that you've
Yeah,
seen or want
just
to
to
talk?
expound on the one you were just talking about, I want to make it clear too. And just like Richie made it clear, we're not telling anybody to go to JUCO over offers in any stretch of the imagination. They're all situations are different. So, and the other thing I want to say, just as a broad statement about this whole thing, is, guys, that's why we say and we tell everybody we work with and anybody that'll listen that the recruiting process is not cookie cutter. Okay, like
Mm-mm.
you can have guys graded, at certain places, and sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. That happened to me when I was a high school coach. It happened to me when I was, working in college ball. It's just not an exact science. If it was, everybody, would just crush the evaluation piece. Okay, and that's sometimes it just doesn't work. Now it works. I just had a conversation with a parent about this the other day or last night. It works in the opposite too, right? You know what I mean? And I'm not getting off topic is explaining JUCO and other things, but we have guys that are graded at a certain place that get better offers than we graded them, for different reasons because context matters. And so in the quarterback situation that Richie's talking about, he gave you a lot of reasons why it may have happened. And it may have just been one of those instances where, again, there's no real explanation for it. But also, the reason junior college made more sense for him is because that junior college really, I mean, they recruited him hard and they gave him a
Right.
vision of what they could do for him and how he could help them early. They're basically opening, they have an open quarterback job. They just lost their guy, so he has a chance to go in there and win the job there too. Whereas some of those other
Right.
Division two
On
schools,
scholarship.
yeah, some of those other Division two schools and some other offers he had, it was more of, they kind of came in late, offered him later in the game after they missed a guy, or whatever, the case may be. Whereas at this junior college he went to, not only are they a really good junior college program, like they pump a lot of players out of there. They know how to do it. They know how to get those guys ready to do what they need to do there, get good tape and leave. They know how to do it academically where you don't have those hiccups. And that's why I said in the beginning, there are differences in junior colleges, in full context. And so he's going to a really, really good junior college that gives him an opportunity to play early and win the job, and that has a proven track record of developing guys both academically and on the field and getting them out of there and giving them opportunities at the next level. So that's why it made more sense. It made a lot of sense for him to go to that junior college versus some of those Division two offers because the opportunity for all those reasons was just simply better. Okay. And now, again, it may be in reverse for other kids, okay? Because we've got other kids, we've got another quarterback, out in California right now that's got junior college opportunities, but he also has a pretty good, Division two opportunity. He's in the same boat. I'm literally talking with him and his mom tonight about weighing those options, and things like that. So, again, we can't tell you how much the context matters, but in certain situations, going to junior college to help you get the tape, get more good tape. That's why you go, is to get more good tape. And if you go to the right situation, and you can get on the field early at the junior college, and it's at a place, do your research, that has a proven track record of developing guys and getting them out of there. The other reason he went to that junior college, guys, is because he had a really good relationship with the OC and the quarterback coach. Like they built a relationship, and he felt like it was better than some other places. So again, a lot of things go into it. I've recruited some really good junior college players over the years that, for whatever reason, didn't get highly recruited out of high school, or they just weren't developed physically enough yet, to really get what they thought they should be able to get. It's a myriad of reasons why guys go play junior college, but it is a really good option in the right situation. Okay. And so I would just highly encourage you to talk to people, that kind of know what's going on a little bit, can talk you through it. and try to help you make some of those decisions. But in the right scenario, junior college can be a really good option.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true, man. And I feel like there's so much misinformation out there um on the process and on recruiting in general, but also on decisions, just making decisions, right? And so, we try to put out as much content as we can to help you make decisions, but we can't reiterate enough. Context is so critical. It's so important. And this is a big decision for the rest of your life, right? For these young men. And with the transfer portal, I guess it's not as big of a decision as it was 10 years ago, but it is still a big one, right? And so making the right one is really important, and setting yourself up to have as many options as possible, and being in a position to make a decision, right? That's a really good position to be in. And you should be very excited to be in that position, right? Where you have a lot of options to choose from. So I hope this gave you some guidance and some ideas for junior college on when it might make sense for you. And it'll help you through the recruiting process. That's what this podcast is all about. Brian, before we wrap it up, is there anything else that you have here that you want to share?
Yeah, and all I want to say is, to Richie's point he just made, guys, what I want to reiterate about what he just said is, junior college used to be, not too long ago, like the total backup option. Like, you didn't have the grades or something bad happened. That's the stigma that it got, for a long, long time. I want to make it very clear, at least with the guys, that we're working with, junior college is just another option. Like, they're not going to junior college because they have nothing else. Not
Right.
seniors we're working with right now. It is just another option. And like Rich, you cannot take for granted in today's world of college football having options. I don't care what they are at the end of the day.
Right.
If you have
Right.
options where you can go continue to play the game, that is a big deal. And I try to impress that on our guys and our families as much as I possibly can, because I've been on both sides of it as a high school coach and on the college level. It's really hard to get an opportunity to play anywhere in college football at any level. So I just want to impress that on people, and not let them get into the stereotype, oh, it's junior college, it's not this, it's not that, this, that, and other. That is the wrong way to approach it, especially nowadays.
Yeah. So important, man. And so it's so important to be, first of all, to get yourself in that position where you have a lot of options, and then once you're there, to be grateful, right?
Absolutely.
But it's all the work that you did over 4 years to put yourself in that position. I'm not talking about like as an athlete, like that you've been putting in your life, but for the recruiting side and the business side, and learning how to market yourself and learning how to sell yourself and do the outreach and doing all the work and setting yourself up with 4, 5, 6, 7+ offers, is something that you should be proud of, and also something you shouldn't take for granted. So really good stuff. Brian, appreciate you being here as always. If you got value from this podcast and you want to watch more podcasts just like it, if you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification. And if you're on, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, if you could leave us a review and ask a question in that review, then we will 100% make a podcast, answer your question. That's how we come up with this content. And the more you're here, the more you leave reviews and subscribe, it allows us to continue to make more podcasts and more content for free, and to help you through the journey. So thank you for being here, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Football Scholarship Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to subscribe and leave us a review. And for more free resources, or if you're interested in working with us, visit gonextplay.com. Until next time.